There are multiple ways to create a new purchase order in Polaris. This video will review how to create a new purchase order using either a purchase order template or by opening a blank purchase order work form. To create a new purchase order using either of these methods, open the File menu and click New, or click the New icon in the shortcut toolbar. From the list of new objects, select Purchase Order. When you select Purchase Order, you see that in the lower portion of the screen, you have two options. You can either create the purchase order without using a template, or you can create a purchase order using an existing purchase order template. Let's select Existing Template. From the alphabetically ordered list, find and select the template you'd like to use, and then click OK. The purchase order work form opens with the information copied over from the template, such as supplier, PO suffix, and fund information. If we open the Line Item tab, we can see that a line item was created with the default fund and item information included. Note that any additional line items created during this session will be created using the default data included in the template. If you close the PO and open it at a later date, new line items will not have the default data input. Before we start adding in line items, let's go back to the General Information tab to make sure we've completed all of the information correctly. You'll see that when I created this purchase order, Polaris automatically generated a purchase order number. If your library does not want to use system-generated purchase order numbers, this is a setting that can be disabled for your library, and staff can simply type the purchase order number in the box. A purchase order number can be up to 30 characters long. The PO number suffix was automatically input for this PO because it was information included in the template. A suffix isn't required, but if included, staff can search via suffix in the Purchase Order Find tool. A suffix can be up to 8 characters long. At the top of the work form, we can see that the PO status is currently pending because we haven't released it yet. Now, under the name, you'll see that the PO type and payment method are grayed out. Well, that's because we haven't saved our purchase order yet. So click the Save button from the toolbar menu. Once that's complete, you'll see that all fields are now available for editing. Next, if applicable, enter in the name of the person authorizing the purchase order in the authorization box, along with the plan name and, if rental material, the date the rental needs to be returned. This PO is pulling the supplier from the template I used. If you're not using a template or your template does not include a supplier, click the Find button to search for and select the order supplier. The claiming data on the right side of the purchase order is being pulled in from the supplier record. You can change the claim data on the purchase order record if you'd like. This will not change the data saved in the supplier record itself. You can also add header charges for the purchase order as a whole, such as shipping charges, in the header charges section of the work form. If you don't know the header charges at the time you create the PO, they can also be added later on when you create your invoice. Make sure to click Add to add any header charges to the order. Now that we've updated the general PO information, let's add in titles to our purchase order. Open the Purchase Order Line Item tab. Because we created this purchase order from a template that included default line item information, we can see that the PO already contains one default line item without linked bibliographic data. Let's add that in. Double-click the poly or right-click and select Open. The purchase order line item work form will open. In the description section, we'll add in our title information. If a bibliographic record for the title already exists in the database, you can type in the ISBN in the ISBN box and click Enter. If an exact match is found, the bibliographic data will be completed for you. I'm going to close this poly without saving and then reopen so that I can show you a couple other options for inputting title information. If you don't know the ISBN for the title, you can also click the Find tool to search for the bib record and add the title to the poly. You can also do a Z3950 search in the Find tool to pull in a record from OCLC. If a bibliographic record for this title does not already exist in the database, you can also create an on-order bibliographic record using one of your on-order bib templates. To do this, click the Template drop-down menu and find the on-order template from the list. Next, complete the remaining fields in the description section, including title, author, and publication date. CCS requirements for on-order records can be found on the CCS Wiki. Once title information is completed, adjust the poly material type if not already completed. In the lower portion of the poly work form, you'll see the line item segment attached to the poly. The line item segment specifies the number of copies, destination branch, collection, and fund information for the title being ordered. In this section, adjust the unit price and apply any additional discount rates as needed. Edit the segment information by clicking in each column. For example, if I'm ordering 2 copies of this title, I'll click in the quantity column and adjust to 2. Now, if you need to add an additional segment, perhaps because one of the copies is going to a different destination branch, you can click the downward-facing arrow or click in the next blank row in the segment area and a new segment will be added for you. You can adjust the information of the second segment as needed. To delete a segment you've added, right-click in that row and click Delete. The Charges tabbed page on the bottom of the poly work form specify the order information and additional charges related to the copies ordered in the segment. The Totals tab page displays the totals for that segment. Now, to add in instructions to the supplier, navigate to the Instructions to Supplier tab. The public and non-public notes will be copied to your on-order line items if on-order items are generated when the purchase order is released. When you're all done, click Save and close the poly. In the next video, we'll review how to bulk add titles to a purchase order. If you have questions about the content of this video, please email CCS staff at help@ccslib.org.